Hello everyone. I'm thrilled to be part of the festive Tech Calendar 2024 as a speaker. This incredible initiative brings together communities and professionals from around the globe to share knowledge, insights, and innovation through December. A huge thank you to the Festive Tech Calendar team for this amazing opportunity and for supporting the Beeston Cancer Charity, an organization making a real difference in people's life. So let's join hands to help them reach their goals for raising £2,500. You can help us, you can contribute via the Just Giving page. So if you go to the www.festivetechcalendar.com and here you click Just Giving page, you can help us raise the amount. I look forward to connecting with you all and sharing valuable insights. So stay tuned for my session and enjoy the festive tech learning. Thank you. Hello everyone and welcome to this exciting GitHub Copilot tutorial. I am Ashraf Ben Alaya and I am Azure Architect, DevOps expert, Microsoft certified trainer and a proud MVP for 2024. Whether it's coding, building Azure Infra, or playing games, yes, I'm a gamer too, I love simplifying complex challenges and sharing knowledge with all of you. Now, let's dive into today's topic, GitHub Copilot tutorial, automate coding for Azure infrastructure in minutes. Okay, I will admit it, it's not quite minutes, more like 2 hours, but don't worry, I've broken it down into bite-sized parts where you will cover different language tools and real-world use cases. So get ready to see how Copilot help us write, debug, and automate faster than ever before. So let's get started. But before that, let's see the plan. So we'll start by an introduction to GitHub Copilot. We will see how we can use GitHub Copilot with Visual Studio, how we can refactor the code, generate test documentation. We'll see also how we can use GitHub Copilot with Visual Studio Code with different languages such as Go, React, .NET, with C Sharp, PowerShell, and also Terraform for Infra as code. We will see how GitHub Copilot can help us create biceps code and deploy our Infra using GitHub Actions to the Azure portal. And also at the end, we will see the new extension, which is GitHub Copilot for Azure. So, what is GitHub Copilot for Visual Studio and what is GitHub Copilot? So, GitHub Copilot is an AI-powered code computation tool designed today to assist you as a developer to write code faster with greater ease. Built on OpenAI Codex, it offers real-time code suggestion based on context, significantly improving productivity and reducing repetitive coding tasks. So Copilot today is especially useful for code generation, infrastructure as code, and various DevOps practices, making it valuable asset for developers who work on across different programming language and frameworks. So, first step, we are going to start by using GitHub Copilot with Visual Studio. Today, GitHub Copilot can be integrated not only with Visual Studio Code, but also with Visual Studio, with JetBrains, with Azure Data Studio, and Nevo Team. So today, we can use GitHub Copilot to generate code, create unit tests, documentation, explanation to explain a full solution, and we will see full demo about that, and even can help us for live coding session. So let's start seeing how GitHub Copilot can be work with the Visual Studio. All right, so now let's walk through a demonstration with GitHub Copilot using Visual Studio. and not Visual Studio Code. So for the demo, we will be using a console application in order to create some function, create some unit tests, and use GitHub Copilot to help us create the function and these unit tests. So let me create this console application. But first, let's see where we have the GitHub Copilot extension. As you see on the top right screen, we have the extension right here. How to get this extension? We can go to the extension and install this extension and connect to our GitHub account in order to activate this extension, or we go to the Visual Studio installer, edit or modify the installation, and select the GitHub Copilot. As you can see here, I have this checkbox and I have checked the GitHub Copilot. All right. So I have this simple solution with this simple project, and I will launch this GitHub Copilot chat. GitHub Copilot here is introducing itself with how to use it. So we can type this in order to refer to a project or a code, and we will start right now typing the first example. So to start, I will be asking GitHub Copilot to write me hello Copilot, let's say 333 time incremental. So I will write, I want to print hello Copilot 333 time, and it will be incremental. So this was my question. Let's see what will be the response of Copilot. All right, as you can see, we have the code provided by Copilot, which is a loop for int I to 333 time. So I know this code will work, but we will want see the result. So let me walk you through this. So I did copy and paste here. Let me start. And once I hit this window will be closed because I don't have an event that will stop this window from being stopped. So I will ask Copilot if he can help me. So how to prevent the window from closing after showing or running the or after returning the results. So let's see if Copilot can understand and help me walk through this. So here I have this code that have been added to prevent the console window from closing immediately. So let me copy this and paste it here and run again our code. All right, as you can see here, we have hello Copilot 333 times. And once I hit enter, this window will be closed. So this was the result that I wanted to have. So let me now ask Copilot some other stuff. Let's go right here, and as you can see, we have a couple of commands or that we can use in order to get documentation, explain, fix, help, optimize, and create unit test. So let me clear this. Oh, it doesn't work. This clear like that. All right. Let me type something else. All right. Let's go back here and let's say write me a function. All right. All right, or maybe let me use the main screen since we have already used the chat window. Let me go inside the code and here let me add a comment. I will write, as you can see, Copilot try to suggest me an end to my text. So a function to sum all the numbers in a list of integers. As you can see here, so I need to create a function to do the sum, and once I hit enter and tab, this code will be inserted by a suggestion from Copilot, and this code will do the sum of that list. So I know right now that I need to call that code from, or that function from, the main method. So let me go to the main method here, and once I try to write, Copilot will understand that there is a new function I need to call it. So as you can see, we have a suggestion, create a list of integers. So here we are initializing the list. And once I hit enter, we have another suggestion to show the result. So as you can see, console, right line, the sum of these numbers and the call to the function sum with the list of the numbers. And like that, we have been using Copilot from both places and both are giving us the results. All right, we need to run this to make sure it's working fine. And here, as you can see, we have the sum of the numbers, which is 15. Great. Awesome. Now let's try to do some other stuff. Let's try to create another function. Okay. Now let's create maybe a function to not print hello world, but for prime numbers. So it will give us if a number is prime or not. So once I hit enter and tab, as you can see here, we have the result or maybe the function. So if a number, like as you can see here, and I'm going to call that function, Boolean function from the main method. As you can see, check if number is prime, and here defining the number, and here once I hit tab, automatically the Copilot will answer the code suggested by it. So let's try this again. We need to run this in order to see if it is working or not. So if it is correct, yes, 7 is a prime number. So as you can see, 7 is a prime number. And this is a good result. All right. As you can see, with the help of Copilot, we have gained a lot of time and we had a result and code in a couple of minutes. All right. So let me go back here. As you can see, we have a different type of command that can help us here from documentation, explanation. We will see what is the difference between documentation and explanation. So the documentation will add summary into the code. And the explanation will explain to us what is this project or this solution or the file that we are selecting is doing exactly. So as you can see here, this is explained. We have an explanation for the namespace, for each function and what is doing. So the sum function, the isPrime function, and the main method. So here with the explain, we can get information about each block and the information related to this solution and maybe the selected program.cs. Now, if we use the doc, it will add documentation and a comment inside our file. So let me add the documentation for the program.cs. And as you can see, the lines on the green lines are a summary that is above each function and the class too. So I will replace the actual program.cs with this documentation or this new updates, which will add, for example, this summary for each function. And we also always, have the same results. And a summary like that is very helpful for developers who want to understand quick the code. Cool. Now, let's try to create another function here. And I will create a function in order to do the sum of two numbers. All right. So it will be add a number A to number B. So if I have 5 plus 5, I must have 10. But instead of doing that, I will keep the name of the function add numbers, but inside the return, I will create or what I exactly will do is A minus B. Let me do the best practice with minus code. All right, like that. And it will return A minus B. And what I'm going to do, I'm missing here the type of the function. I need to add it. So it will be int. I will add it right here. All right. So I will be asking Copilot to fix this function for me. So I will call that function from the main method here. So I will define two numbers and these numbers I will call the function add number, which is 5 and 3. So Basically, if this right, I must have as a result 8. But due to what I have defined inside the function, I will have 2. So what I will do, I will ask Copilot to fix this function. Will Copilot be capable of understanding that? Let's try and see together. So as you can see here, I will select this, right click, ask Copilot, and here I will tell Copilot fix this function. So in order to also there is always we need always to explain. So the function in order to add number A to number B and return results. All right, hit enter, and here we can get on the right a suggestion. We can either cancel or accept, and we can see the difference. The minus become plus, and like that we have accepted the suggestion by Copilot, and we have our code. Awesome. This is pretty good and fast. Let's run this. As you can see, the result is 8. The sum of 5 plus 3 is 8. Good. All right. So this was basically how to create function, how to fix code, and how to use documentation and explanation. Now, let's see how to create a unit test project and how we can use the DDD in order to create unit tests first and later the code, and later we will create also unit tests for the code that already exists inside our main program. So let me select this project, unit test project, .NET Framework, and create what we have to do. So let me rename this. All right, let me change the name to unit testing using GitHub Copilot. Okay. Let me do that. And here we have the project being added to the solution. And we need, I need actually to rename the class here for better practice. And I need to reference the Hello GitHub Copilot project inside the unit test. So like that, the unit test project will understand that there is another project to test. Without referencing, we cannot testing. We cannot test that project. So here I'm going to rename the class. I will rename it right here too. So it is Copilot Testing Visual Studio. All right. And I will be referencing the main project to the unit test project. It's been a while since I have created unit tests, but I still remember. All right, let me go and look for reference. So, and dependencies, I think it's here. Project dependencies, or it's like here. Let me go to references, maybe. Add. Oh, let me remove the zoom. All right. So I will go to references. I think from there I will add the first project. So here add references. I think I didn't see it. Let me select add the references directly from references. I will select the Hello GitHub Copilot and build the solution in order to see that if everything is running smoothly. So build, no errors, that's a good sign. All right. And yes, it's here, add the references. It's the same, you can use it even the references from the reference or directly from add right here. All right, cool. So right now, what we will do is to go here and add the using. All right. All right, and I will type the name of the solution. So I will be saying like that to this class. I will be using this Hello GitHub Copilot. All right. And one more thing to do is to put the class right there to public instead of internal. So like that, it will be available for this class. All right, let me build. The build is 112. Okay. So I will do that in a second. All right, let me just remove this and change it to public. Okay. Okay, this is cool. Okay, so right now I'm going to create this. So I will start creating a unit test first. So here we are be defining our first, let's say, test class for a function that does not exist. So I will be creating the unit test before writing the code. So unit test and later the code. Some teams work like that. Some teams create code and later create the unit test. So here I will be defining test method which is subtract two numbers equals correct. So I will define the method here or the test. Let me go back to line here and you will see that Copilot will be suggesting a code for us. So the test methods are based on three steps: arrange, act, and assert, 3 A's. So as you can see here, we have the suggestion from GitHub Copilot where we are defining the parse. And this is actually in red because we don't have a method that is named subtract numbers. So we can fix this with Copilot or use Visual Studio in order to generate that method. I will use Visual Studio. So if we go back here to the main method, we will see that there is a new public static and function have been created. But I'm going to try to use Copilot in order to generate that function too. So let me try to walk through the comments again. Okay, let me just remove this and ask Copilot to create this function right here. Let me copy, ask Copilot, copy again. Okay, so as you can see here on the right, we have the method suggested by Copilot, and I just need to rename this function name in order to be the same as the test. All right, so we have now 0 errors, as you can see, and right now we can test. All right, that's cool. Let's look for the test button and click hit on testing this test method. So to test this unit test actually, or to run this unit test, we need to click on the test button above this one next to build. Let's build first. All right. And here we have the test and run all the tests. I have the test window on my other screen. Let me take it here. And as you can see, we have one test that have been run successfully. So the subtract two numbers equal correct, as you can see, and it is correct. So we started by writing the test next to code and we have a successful test. Now what we'll be doing is to create some tests for the function that we have already defined earlier, like its prime number or add two numbers and the different functions that I have forget. All right, so let me copy this, the test method. Every test method must have this annotation. And let me create another test. So here what I can do is to ask Copilot to test a function via its name. So let me write test. Let's look to one of the function on the left. Let's test is prime function. So test the is prime function. So here, as you can see, I hit enter. And now if I hit tab, I will get a test for that is prime number. As you can see, arrange, act, assert, as usual, in 3 steps. All right. And if I run tests Now the unit test will detect that I have another test, so that's why we see 2, and this prime number, and the test is successfully working. Awesome. So let's test another function. All right, I think we have another function here. Let's test this sum function. All right, let me reduce this too. Okay, and as usual, we need to have the annotation test method, and I will test this sum function. All right, so test method, I will be asking Copilot again, test the sum function, hit enter and tab, and like that, we'll have our test. I need to import the system collection, generic collection here, and we have another test that have been created, and right now we can hit tests and run all the tests. So here, run all the tests. Automatically, it will find out that we have 3 tests already. Okay, and these 3 tests are being successfully done. Cool. So like that, we have created a class and we have created a test per function, and we have created a test, and later we have added the code that is relative to that function. All right now we can create a file. For example, let's create a text file here, and let's insert the documentation of this project into that file. So if someone else open up that file, he can read, or she can read the documentation and run later the solution. So here, let me create a new item. I will be looking for text file. I think, yes, this is it. I will be naming this text file to infos. And from the chat window, I can ask here Copilot, give me documentation or explanation about, for example, the full solution or only part of the solution, so I can select one of the files. So here I will be asking explain and document for the for me this solution or this project. Okay, and here we GitHub Copilot generate for us a documentation or a full documentation about this solution. We can copy that, insert it directly into info.txt. So as you can see here, we have how to clone this solution, how to use GitHub, how to use the NuGet manager, package manager, in order to install the dependencies, and how to add features or use GitHub, and everything related to the license. As I said maybe before, we need to ask with details Copilot. So if I select, for example, the program.cs, he will explain the program.cs. If I select the src file, he will explain all what is under the src file. So here, if I select doc program.cs, and let me choose, for example, the testing class. So here, Copilot will write me a documentation inside these 2 files. So there is a difference between documentation and explanation. As I said, the documentation will add summary inside the code, while the explanation will explain the full code source. All right, so like that, we will have these tests. All right. And here we are inside the program .cs, and we will be asking to enter into that file info.txt the documentation or the explanation how this will work. All right. As I said, documentation will add summary to the code. and not actually explain the code. As you can see here, we have suggestion about other questions that we can ask GitHub Copilot about. All right, cool. And we can use the GitHub Copilot chat or directly ask inside the file or the txt file. We can ask Copilot. Cool. Let me go back here, and here I will copy this and paste it right here. Let me paste again. Or maybe I can also ask from inside the info.txt. So here I will hit explain and will choose which file to explain to me. I can use the solution or maybe one of the files. So I will be choosing this file, and here the Copilot will help me creating explanation, and later I can help I can insert this documentation inside this file if I hit enter. As you can see. All right, I will not save this for now. Cool. Right now, let me go back to this test class, and right now we will try something else with unit tests. Actually, I will be trying to maybe create a full test class for the program.cs with the help of Copilot. So I will not write the code by myself. But before that, we can also ask Copilot, for example, to optimize some code for us. For example, here I'm asking GitHub Copilot to optimize the program.cs for us. So here we'll have the code optimized and the explanation. For example, this sum method have been d4 have been replaced with for each, and this prime method added check for 2 and even number to reduce the number of iteration. So like that, the code will be more optimized, and we can answer that to replace the actual code that exists inside the program.cs. All right, cool. All right, those awesome functionality help us do the best with our code. So right now I will do something else here. All right, so here we have the programs.cs, the optimized code for the program.cs, and I can run it right now. As you can see, we have the same results. Cool. All right, so like that we have done almost everything here. Let's try right now to use the tests. Right now I will be asking Copilot to create a full test by itself for the program.cs. So here, as you can see, it defines for me a full class with unit tests. So I need to create a new file here to test these program.cs. So I click insert into new file. As you can see here, program tests. I will save that file inside the unit testing project. Let me select the unit test project. This is it. Yes, and here let me copy this location here, and I will save the file right here, and I will right click on that class. I will hit run tests. So as you can see here, we have a couple of tests, and here we have 7 tests, the 3 that I have already created, and 4 new one. So test for add number, for is prime, for subtract numbers, and the sum, which are the functions that I have created. Awesome. So this was about GitHub Copilot and Visual Studio, which will help you improve your coding skills for better and optimize it, enhance it. All right. So now we are going to use GitHub Copilot about with an existing solution. So inside this repo .NET A Shop, a solution provided by Microsoft, a full solution is being built using different microservices and communication services too. And in this use case, let's say or imagine this is a big solution or legacy solution or something that we will start work on it, and we'll seek the help of GitHub Copilot to understand this solution. So basically, we will ask GitHub Copilot to help us understand this project. So as you can see here inside the CRS folder, we have a couple of microservices, and here I will ask Copilot to explain to me what is the role of this solution, what is the role of this project or microservices. So explain to me this project. So Copilot will try to analyze the content of this project, and since I have selected maybe a file, it will only to understand or to explain to me that file. So let me go back and select the full workspace. So the CRS folder. So let me just click like that. All right. I'm selecting the app host. So I will select the CRS. So here, let me choose the solution maybe. All right. So let me choose explain. Explain to me. All right. So to the CRS hierarchy and existing APIs. So I want to know or get information about the different projects here. And as you can see here, we get a definition or some information about some of the dependency that exists inside this solution. But I think with a better question, we can get better explanation and results. All right. So let me try to maybe run this solution. I'm not sure it will be working because I still don't have installed the runtime for C# 9.0 as I did expect. All right. So this will not work until I update those files. So let me go back here. I will go to my chat. So I will go to this extension. And here, let me remove that. And here I will ask again. So here I am inside the CRS as usual. As you can see, we have different APIs, different domains and services and component. And I need to ask a question. So explain to me the APIs and the component that exists inside this solution. And let's see what will give us as a result. Okay, as you can see here, we have the project file overview, and here we have a definition or explanation about the target framework. So here, Copilot have understand that this will need the .NET framework 9.0, and we have a couple of definitions like the package references between the solution. So can you list all the microservices inside the solution? And here we have based on the provided basket API, because I'm selecting that basket API CS project. It can see that we have basket.api and eShop service default and even bus RabbitMQ. Right now I'm selecting the solution, not that API project. I will be selecting the solution and I'll be asking the right question, and like that we'll get the right full answer. So as we have seen, it is very important to select the project or the solution that you want to get information about. So here I selected the solution, and as you can see right now, we have definition and explanation about each project and each API. So here we have the mobile AFF shopping application, we have the payment processor, the webhooks, the ordering API, the catalog API, and the basket API. So when you ask the right question and select the right file, you will get the right explanation. So we can ask what is, for example, if you want to know more information about the pattern used in this solution, let's ask the question, what is the type of the pattern used in this solution to get to know what is pattern? So here, as you can see, multiple independent services or multiple patterns using here. It's the microservice architecture pattern. We have service communication. We have database per service, which is best practice, scalability and deployment, API gateway for BFF, and different shared library. So this was the part when we have already a solution and we are going to ask GitHub Copilot to help us understand the code, and we can even ask it to help us enhance the code or create new stuff. All right, let's go again with another demo, and this time let's create something with Go. So I'm not a Go developer, but I will try to see if Copilot can help me create a Go program. So first of all, we need to make sure that we have GitHub Copilot installed. And we will be asking it to create a small program for us, and let's see what we'll have. So as usual, I will start by using my chat tab. So here I will focus on this Ask Copilot chat tab, and I will be asking Copilot right here. So I will choose the workspace. So here we have the different commands that we can use with our Copilot, and let me go choose the workspace. So here, I don't know, as I said, Go, so I'll be asking how to build a new Go solution and how to run it. So let me start by a simple hello world. As in all the beginners start to learn, they start by hello world. So here we have the commands by Copilot. So let's start by first one. So let's start initializing a new Go model. So I will run this command like that. All right, and we have a new file that have been generated, and we need to create a new Go file. So I think that will not run on my Windows computer. I will create manually a main.go file. All right, so here we have our file, and here I need to edit that file and answer all this line of code. So package main import fmt, and we have the main function which will print the hello world text. All right, and here we have the code to run the go. So go run Mingo, and here we have our hello world text. This was fast, awesome, and clean. All right, so maybe let's try to do something more complex. All right, so here, let me go here and ask something else. So let me ask here to generate a function, all right, that maybe take two numbers or two inputs and add them to each other. So it will return the sum of these two numbers. All right. Cool. Awesome. So here we have our code, and we'll change it with a new code. And as you can see here, we have a function that is called sum that will add 3 plus 4. And let's run this code and see the result. Go run Mango. And as you can see here, we have the sum, which is 7, 3 plus 4. That's awesome. And that was pretty quick. Awesome. So let me ask Copilot a couple of other questions about Go. As you know, we can ask it to optimize our code or create documentation or explanation about the full code source. So here, as you can see, we have the suggestion. So this is the Copilot suggestion for our file that we have selected, the main.go, and we'll have up to 10 suggestions how to change the code or enhance that existing code or even the commands. All right. So right now, let me try to do something else a bit different. So let me go here to the chat tab. Okay, let me zoom in. And as you can see, we have been selecting the main.go current file, as you can see. And right now I will be asking to create a function that retrieve user data from a database, which is Postgre database. So I don't have the Postgre database or the Postgre installed on my computer or machine. So this will be like a simulation. I'll write something and we will see if the Copilot will be able to understand my need. So here, as you can see, we need, as I did mention, PostgreSQL. He or Copilot will ask me to install dependency in order to work with PostgreSQL. So I did run that command, and right now I need to modify the code. And as you can see here, we have a function to get user data. And inside the main function, we are selecting the connection string and calling that get user data with sending the connection string and the user ID. And this is user ID number 1. So this is a simulation of what we can have if we have a PostgreSQL database. So here I can ask, for example, Copilot to optimize this code or to enhance it, because I did not ask from the beginning to create an optimized code. All right. So here I'm asking, let me clear this first. All right. I'm selecting always the main.go file, and I'm asking right now, do this follow the best practice for Go? And here the GitHub Copilot will generate for us some answers, like he added the error handling and more optimization, like environment variable, the connection pooling, and also the logging. All right, and like that we will have better structured code. All right, let me create a readme.md file, and here I may ask Copilot to explain the full solution or the main.go file, what it's doing and the need and what's the classes that exist right there and what is the purpose of this code. So we can ask inside this chat tab or from the inside the main window. So let me here explain in the readme file all the details about this file. All right. Cool. And you can answer this inside the readme.md file. Or we can even ask inside the readme.md file if we can click, right click and ask Copilot directly inside this readme.md file. And this is pretty awesome. Like that, we cannot waste too much time on creating the documentation. We'll just need to ask Copilot to create the documentation for us, and we'll just double check quickly, and we'll deliver the project sooner and before the time of delivery. So here we can ask just generate a general description about the solution. All right. So here, as you can see, we have the project is a Go application designed to connect to a PostgreSQL database to retrieve user information. And here we have a .md file definition documentation. So like that, we have our Copilot who helped us create this documentation. Right now, let's do one more thing. From inside the main.go, I will add comment. I will ask Copilot to get user or retrieve user information from database by ID. All right. So here I will hit enter and tab, and we'll wait for Copilot to give us suggestion. And sometimes it takes time to give us a suggestion, or if the question was not clear or already there is a code that gives the same answer to that question, it take a time for giving us an answer. So let me copy this. Let me copy this block like that. All right, and I will try to ask in another way. All right. So generate code that retrieve user from database by user ID. All right. So it's not generating like that because we already have a function like almost similar to this function, which is the get user. So I will try another way. So I will cut that. All right. And I will ask like that. So let me paste the question. All right. And like that, Copilot will be giving us this function that will get user by ID. All right. If there is anything missing also, we can ask Copilot to fix it. And here the code is fixed. So this will receive only a user ID and will look to that ID inside the database through the query, select ID and name email from user, where ID equal the ID that will be received from inside this function. So this was GitHub Copilot, your bro code or your helpful code or your all right. Right now, let's go through another demo with GitHub Copilot, but this time I will be creating a React application. I'm not a React developer and I don't have big experience using React, but here I will be asking GitHub Copilot to create or build a React application. And here, as you can see, I have asked it for the structure of the project. It will be composed for backend and front-end solution. As you can see here, this is the project structure that is being proposed by GitHub Copilot. So let's follow step by step and try to create this architecture proposed, and let's see if the project will work. So this is a simply to do project. All right, so here I will be start by creating, as you can see, the backend, and I will type npm init to start the project and also install the Express core. So we have the cores right now installed, and we will start by creating the different files for the backend solution. So here, as you can see, we'll need to create an index.js inside the backend directory. So we will create a new file. We can either create that manually, or here we can click and choose insert into a new file, choose the directory, and that file will be inserted with its code. So here we have the fake data. So inside a JSON file. So also we will create another file that contain that fake data that will be proposed by the backend. Awesome. So here we have these 3 lines. All right. And now we need to create the front end folder. Let's go to the main solution folder and create the new folder. If we refresh here, we can see the new folder being created. And inside that front end, we are going to create some classes in order to call the backend that we have. So right now we are creating the front end using the npx create react app frontend. So we are following each command provided by GitHub Copilot. Cool. All right. And the next command is we want to go inside the folder of the front end, and we need to do one more installation, which is Axios. And later, as you can see, we need to create a to-do list.js inside the component directory. So we need to create another directory inside the front end. As you can see here, I don't see any component folder inside the CRS. And if I go to the structure, as you can see here with the presentation, we see that we must have a component folder inside the CRS folder. So here, create new folder, components. All right. And we are going to insert a new file called to-do-list.js. So insert, and here we have our file. Let me choose just the right folder. So we need to be inside frontend, CRS components, and let's save this right here. Great. And we need right now to do one more thing, which is modifying the app.js file in order to call this to-do list presentation that we have inserted. So here, let me comment on this block, the basic application that was created, and let's insert this block of code provided. And right now, one more thing, we need to run the backend and the frontend solution in order to see how this will work. So here the Copilot helped us create the full solution from backend, frontend, with the different commands that we have to use it in order to install dependencies and run the project. So let me now run the backend using node.index.js and run the frontend using npm start. So on the left we have the backend. As you can see, it's running on localhost 5000, and the frontend right now will run, and we will see the page in a second. All right, the server started, and the webpack compiled, and here we have our result. So as you can see here, we have the fake data that we have on our to-do list, and this is its presentation. This is quite good. So from the first time, no errors, no problems. So I created this with the right commands provided from GitHub Copilot, and we have 0 errors. That is pretty awesome. And let's try right now to test that backend from the Postman. I think we said the localhost is 5000. Let me try this endpoint. Let me ask GitHub Copilot, how can I test the backend from Postman? Will he be able to answer that question? Let's see together. So I will be asking right here how to call the backend from Postman. Let's see the answer here. All right, here we have detailed steps and the right URL. So since Postman helped me to create the backend, he know that the URL is --todos. So let me call this. And as you can see, we have the data provided that we have created earlier inside the fake data in our JSON file. Awesome. So this is also something, a really important point, that GitHub Copilot can help us create fake data. Let's ask to get more fake data. And this is actually good for testing. Usually we'll be looking around to create manually those fake data in order to test and populate those data. Right here, let's ask Copilot, can you populate more fake data? All right. And here we have more fake data. So as I explained before, depends how you ask Copilot, it will give you the data. So here I ask it if he can give me more fake data. If I ask it, give me 15 or 20 lines of fake data, he will give me 20 or 15. Depends on my question. So as you can see here, we have the list of the fake data that we have asked from Copilot. And that's awesome. Cool. Now let's say that we want to document this solution. We want to create a file So the developer that we will continue working on this project, instead of going deep inside of each line of code, he will read or start by reading the documentation. So here I will create a new file. I will name that file readme.md. All right. And here I will ask Copilot to uh, document or explain the full solution inside this file. So here, let me choose the right command. I'll be looking for explain inside this workspace, which means the whole solution. Let me just explain, or I can even type directly right here. Okay, let me choose, maybe let's write directly inside the chat. Can you document the project inside this readme.md file? So we need to see the project structure and also the definition about the backend and the frontend. And like that, if someone else start working on the project, he will at least understand the structure and the different project that exists inside this solution. So let's see. As you can see here, we have the project documentation, the structure, the backend, the frontend, and their files, how it works, how to run the backend, how to run the frontend, how to do npm install, npm start, and this is awesome. And even how to create later maybe a test for this project. So I can copy all that here and paste it, as you can see. This is one of the solution. I can insert into a new file, or even I can use the Copilot helper inside the main window in order to create that documentation. So I'll copy this here, and inside this page, let me close this. Inside this page, I will ask Copilot, can you document the project sector and how it works and how it launched in this file? So I need to precise the question, because if I don't say this project inside this workspace, Copilot may give us another project sector that is in the same main folder of the solution. All right, so we have seen the backend, we have seen the front end, we have seen how Copilot, how can he lead us to create the different component and folders and files for this solution. We can also ask the GitHub Copilot to update the different component, or maybe we can ask it to, let me try something else, for example. All right, let me type here, I will choose workspace, and I will be asking Copilot, can you update this project to be a React Native, all right, which will be a cross-platform solution. So this is a migration, what GitHub Copilot will give us. All right, as you can see, GitHub Copilot helping us here to do our migration from React to React Native. So by installing the native CLI and updating the project structure. So if you have a migration project, you need to migrate from React to React Native, GitHub Copilot can give you or guide you through the entire process. I hope this was helpful, and see you in another video. Alright, so here we go again, but right now we'll be using GitHub Copilot with .NET on Visual Studio Code. So first of all, we need to make sure that we have our extension here installed, and from here I will launch the chat. So here, chat, open chat, and we'll have our Ask Copilot chat window right here. And I will be asking GitHub Copilot how I can create a console application in Visual Studio Code. Let's say that I don't have a background as .NET developer, and ask Copilot how to do this. So the answer will be these commands. So we have the first command, which is .NET new console, my console application, and we will go to the folder and we will run this command .NET run in order to run our solution. And by default, we have the hello world sample. So if we go inside the project, we'll see that we have our program.cs file and we'll have the default hello world project. Here, with the new version, I'm aware that inside the framework 9.0, the program.cs is optimized. But let's say if Copilot will know about this information, that why we don't have the main program. So here, the code you see is using the top level statement feature introduced in C# 9.0, which allows you to write simple program without having the program or the main method. So I will just add the main program and just for this demo here. So we have our class program and we will run again our solution. And as you can see here, we have the hello world sample. All right, so let's deep dive and maybe ask Copilot to give us some more suggestion right here. So I will be asking GitHub Copilot, for example, here to create me a function or a new function. So let me use the commands here and create a new function like that, for example, calculate the area of a rectangle. So let me type the calculate the area of a rectangle. Cool. And let's see what Copilot will suggest. So I hit enter and tab, and here like that we have our model and we have the function get area. And from the main method, I will need to call that get area function in order to get the results. So Copilot will understand that I'm going to need to call that function get area. All right, that we have right here, and I will just create a command right here. Okay, so call the get area function. All right. So here automatically Copilot will understand since I have only one function defined, so he will call that function. Okay. So here we have the results. If we run .NET run, we have the area of a rectangle is 200, as you can see from this data that we have inserted right here. And we can ask Copilot to explain to us this selected part of code that I have selected. So as you can see here, I can see in this small window the results, but I prefer to use the chat window in order to get this this explanation. So let me type again, explain to me the selected code. All right. So like that, Copilot will think and give me this definition and how this code work and the details about each variable right here. Awesome. This is pretty awesome. All right. So I can ask Copilot few other stuff, like for example, explaining the code, creating unit tests. I can ask it to optimize my code if I think that my code is not optimized, or I can ask different question based on all these suggestion. So let me ask Copilot if he can optimize this code that he have created. You may ask, why not from the beginning Copilot create an optimized code? Because I did not ask it to create an optimized code, I just asked it to create code. So if you want something, you need to ask the full question. So the more details you give to Copilot, the more he will be awkward. So here, when I ask it to create a more optimized code, as you can see here, we have removed the unnecessary using directive, added proper formatting and spacing for better readability, and the use of string interpolation for the console output. And like that, this new code is more optimized than the other one, as you can see. Cool. So this was a sample with the area of a rectangle. I will remove all this right now and I will go through another thing that I have prepared. I will bring a code that is not well optimized and I will be asking Copilot if he can optimize this code for me. So let's start by removing all this code that I have inside this namespace. So I will remove the full code or the full function here. I will remove it, the class rectangle, and I will remove the code that exists inside the void main method. All right, let me delete this. I don't need it anymore. And this also, let me copy from my other screen. Okay, and let me format this, and this is a code that will do the sum of the numbers. So it's using a list of numbers with for loop, and it will give me the sum of the numbers. So I'm going to ask Copilot to optimize this for me. All right, so optimize this code for me. Let me write this like that. And I will be asking to optimize this code or this function using the link or other efficient method. Let me hit enter. I will discard this. All right. Let me maybe go and do this inside the, all right, the chat window. All right, and here, as you can see, here is the optimized, cleaned up version of your code. And below there is the changes that have been made by Copilot from adding the collection generic using and replacing the for loop with a for each loop for better readability and used string interpolation. So here, as you can see, you can use link to simplify the calculation, so it will be more faster using the link. As you can see here, the sum is using the number that sum, so it's calling itself in order to add or read those numbers. So let me format this again. And here we have our optimized code. Let's run this up, and as you can see here, the sum of these numbers is 55. Awesome, isn't it? So let me ask Copilot, is this really more optimized code? So here we will analyze this method. And here the answer, yes, the code using link is already quite optimized and concise. However, you can make a few minor improvements like removing the unnecessary using directives and ensure proper formatting. So as you can see that there is always a door to optimize and clean more the code. So this was the demo about GitHub Copilot with .NET, but this time inside Visual Studio Code, as we can use it also inside Visual Studio. And here we have used the commands to optimize the code, to create the code. And as you can see, also we can get different suggestions in order to enhance the code or, for example, explain or document our code. I hope this was helpful. See you in another video. Hi again. So, I'm a big fan of PowerShell and optimization. And right now, we'll be using GitHub Copilot with PowerShell. So here, I have a couple of services or app services that have been deployed inside my portal, Azure portal. And as you can see here, I have different tags. So I have the category demo and I have other tags. And I have two app service by environment. So here, this is my code, which will get all app services in subscription and will list all the app services. So I am going to ask Copilot here to filter by app service that have special tag. For example, here I want to filter the app services that have the tag environment with the value production as this. So if I go to the portal, as you can see, I have different tags. I have category demo, and I will be using the category demo and the tag. Let me choose the second tag that I have right here. So I want the services that does not have the tag environment production. So here, let me go to my app services. As you can see here, the lifecycle is persistent. So I will choose the application that doesn't have the tag lifecycle persistent. Okay, so I'm asking Copilot to help me get only those app services. So I must get 4 app services because I have 6 and I know very well that I have 2 of them that are in lifecycle persistent. All right. So here I have run the PowerShell command and it is running, as you can see, and here we have the results. So we have each app service and its name and the resource group and also the location. So here I will be asking, for example, GitHub Copilot to stop those app services only. So here, as you can see, I have directly the suggestion to stop those app services. So if we run this again, we'll be seeing those app services being stopped. So here we will can launch the chat window and I will ask my buddy or I'll ask my co-pilot here to explain to me what will this code do. So here we have documentation. So what we have as output message, what every part of this code will be doing for us. And like that, if we have maybe a couple of lines that we don't understand in a PowerShell script, we can ask Copilot to let us understand those code. Awesome. We can run right now this code in order to stop those 4 app services. So let me clear this and let's run our code in order to stop those 4 app services. So here I will go to one of those applications. As you can see below here on my left screen or my left window, that the service being stopped. Let's go inside one of the application. All right, let me refresh the window. All right, let me refresh the page. And go to one of the app services that we have for this demo. So here and here we have our 6 app services. All right. So this is the production, must not be stopped, and this is not production, which is being stopped already, and this is also have been stopped. So let's group by resource group. So here we are in the dev environment, it's already stopped, and also the acceptance environment is stopped. And for sure the production because is not stopped because we have asked it to not touch these resources that have the lifecycle tag persistent. All right, so right now this is the code. I will ask here Copilot to enhance the output. So I want to see a better output when this code run. Like that, we will get the location, the state of the app services, and its tags. Like that, we will have more details about each app services inside the output. All right, and here let me update this code in order to maybe start the app services instead of stopping them since they have already been stopped. All right, as you can see here, the code, because I have asked to start if they are stopped, automatically GitHub Copilot will give me code that will check before if the service is stopped or not and will start it. And as you can see here, we have a couple of suggestions and can use any suggestion by Copilot. So here, if the state is stopped, the GitHub Copilot or the PowerShell, sorry, will start that app service, and if it is not stopped, if it's not stopped, so it will not do anything. So let me clear this and let's run this code again in order to see what's going on. So the progress, as you can see, and here, as you can see, starting app service and the name of the app service. All right. So here we have the output result of the actual status of these app services. And if we go to one of these app services, actually, we will see that the app is starting. So let me go to the acceptance environment and the dev environment. Sometimes it takes a couple of seconds in order to see from the portal the difference. So as you can see, this app service is started, and here the app service is started, and right here also the app service have started. Awesome. This is great. So here the Copilot have helped us start and stop those app services that are in the acceptance and dev environment. Cool. So we can ask Copilot, as we said, from the Copilot chat or from the main window through the comments. All right. Maybe right now I will ask Copilot to delete these app services and their plan app services, because these app services that I have created, each one of them have its own plan services. So here it will be asking us to upgrade our code. So let me upgrade the code and replace it with this one and maybe answer it. Cool. All right, and let me run this code. So I will rename it. So it's always better to have better naming in order for Copilot to understand even the use case of this code. So right now I did run the code and it must be deleting these app services, the first four app services that are the acceptance and dev environment. So the code is running. All right, let's refresh the portal again. I will maybe stop recording and start again once and resume recording when these are deleted. All right. And here, meanwhile, we can ask Copilot something else. For example, update the selection, stop the app service, and delete them with their plan and show the output. So here, I asked Copilot to stop the app services before deleting them. All right, so here we have an updated code, and instead of directly deleting the app services, it will go check if the app service is running, it will stop it and then delete it. And if it is already stopped, it will be directly deleting the app services. All right, let me just here check the code. All right, we got a couple of errors, but it is already started working. Let's see the results. Okay, it's still running. I will pause for seconds in order to see the results. Let me refresh, and as you can see, we already have the dev environment have been already deleted, and since it's still running, we may accept the acceptance environment to be deleted too. So let's try again. One have been deleted, one more to go. Let's refresh. And as you can see, we only have, let's refresh one more time. We only have the production environment that is being left because it has the lifecycle persistent tag. All right. So this is awesome. And Copilot helped us upgrading our code from starting to stopping to deleting those app services. So here we can ask Copilot more other questions like explaining this code or documenting this code or adding a full documentation how to start and run this PowerShell script. So here, if I can write, if I can zoom here, can you optimize this code? So I did not ask from the beginning to create optimized code. So here, the Copilot will run and create more optimized version of this code for us, and also with documentation. So here, instead of writing this code like that, GitHub Copilot have created a function to stop and delete an app service and its app service clone directly. And this is a better approach in order to do something. So we need to have different function based on the need. And the changes have been made. So here we have the definition of each change. Let's replace that in the main screen and insert or replace this code. I replaced the actual code with the new optimized code, and I can run it. Cool. I hope this was helpful and see you in another video. And with GitHub Copilot, we will see how it helps us create even different function with PowerShell and different languages too. Thank you. All right, so I hope you are a fan of Terraform. Right now, I'll demonstrate how GitHub Copilot can enhance your Terraform coding experience. So watch as it helps us write, optimize, and troubleshoot infrastructure as code effortlessly. So let's get started. First of all, we need to have the extension installed. As you can see here, I have already some part of my code. So I have the main.tf file right here, and I have the provider and the variables. So we can ask, for example, our GitHub Copilot inside our workspace here, explain to me what is this code doing? What will create for me? So to me, what is this code is creating in flow diagram. So here I will be asking from Copilot to create a flow diagram. What will be created step by step in this Terraform code. So right now, the GitHub Copilot is generating a response. Let's see if it is correct 100%. So it's analyzing our Terraform code. All right. And here, as you can see, we have different resources that will be created. As you can see, we have virtual machine, we have storage account, we have a network interface, public IP, and different resources. So let me ask one more time. So show me a diagram, flow, or architecture diagram of the component that will be created. So I will be selecting the main.tf because it contains most of the resources that I will be creating. And as you can see here, this is a cool diagram that will represent, we have the random password, the virtual machine, the subnet, and the public IP address, the network interface attached to the virtual network, and the storage account, the Windows virtual machine, and the random ID. So like that, we have also an explanation about each resource that will be created. We have 9 resources, and like that, we will have each resource and its explanation, and this will be really helpful if you are building infra as code and you are working on a project with our teammates or creating a new project or working on existing project. So let me now ask GitHub Copilot to create a network security group. As you see, once I had added the command, automatically Copilot have added the code, and right now I will ask Copilot to attach that network security group to the subnet. As you can see, I hit enter. Copilot now is thinking. Let me try again. And here we have the suggestion. I hit tab, and like that I have my network security group attached to the network security group that I have just created. That is pretty awesome, and like that we are sure that Copilot is helping us to enhance our Terraform code. So here, as you can see, we have the public IP address, the network interface right here. Okay, we have the storage account too, and we are creating one virtual machine. As you can see here, we have the virtual machine and its definition, and it's actually Microsoft Windows Server 22 data center. And here I can ask Copilot, for example, can we update this code instead of creating one virtual machine? I will ask him to, I want one for, let's say, VM like that. I want one for dev environment and one for production environment. All right. Or maybe test environment. Let me test VM. So I want this code to be updated in order to create, instead of one virtual machine, I want two virtual machines and one for dev and test. And I can even give the currency, so 001, 002. So like that, the more I give more precision to GitHub Copilot, the more he will follow my steps and give better suggestion. So here I'm asking Copilot to be based on a variable, and that variable, if we define two virtual machine, it will create two. If I define three, it will create three. So here we have the var.vm count is in red because I have not yet defined that variable inside the variable .tf. So here I will add that variable. So I don't need that. I will add manually this. As you can see, Copilot already understands that I need to add that. I will modify this to 2. All right. And like that, this code right now will create two virtual machines because inside the VM count variable, I have defined 2. That's amazing. Cool. And here I am selecting my subscription. I can ask Copilot to give me the right commands in order, for example, to run this. Let's say I don't know Terraform. I will be asking Copilot, hey, how to use Terraform to run this solution, plan, and apply this solution. So how to use Terraform to init and plan the project and create output in JSON format for the plan. So I'll be asking Terraform, I will be waiting for its answer. As you can see here, the Copilot used the main.tf because I'm selecting that file. And here we have the following command: Terraform init, plan out tf plan, and the let's try Terraform init. All right, no errors. And let's try Terraform plan out tf plan. We don't need the .binary actually, only if we later need to transform this to the JSON file. I need to remove that binary. I'm sure it will not work. All right. So let me get off that binary, only tf plan. Let's run this. And right now we'll be seeing the actual plan. So when we say plan, it means the configuration that will be deployed. We will see it as definition right here. So this maybe take a couple of seconds. And as you can see here, it's generated. We have 13 resources to be created with 0 changes and 0 destruction. So, and we can remove this binary here and create a JSON definition of that TF plan. As you can see here, we have created that JSON file. So this file will contain the full definition in JSON format of that configuration that will be deployed. Awesome. So here we can ask, also by selecting the JSON file, we can ask Copilot, what will this plan create exactly? All right. So the Terraform plan will be creating a resource group, a virtual network, Azure subnet, a network security group, a network security group association or attachment, a public IP address, and there we can see the name, the allocation method, the location, and the selected resource group for each resource. So like that, we can be sure for all the information before deploying. Sometimes reading the TF plan can be painful. So with GitHub Copilot, we can get the details and maybe ask and check if a resource it will be using the right name or the right subnet or the definition that we want. So here I will be asking GitHub Copilot to create and attach an SSD hard drive with 128 gigabytes of size to and attach it to those virtual machines. So let me SSD storage. Let me correct this. So it will be like that for each for caching for each virtual machine. As you can see, automatically here we have the var VM count, so it depends on the number of the virtual machines, it will create hard drives. And here automatically Copilot did understand that I need to attach that managed disk to that virtual machines. Here I think we have a variable that is missing. I think caching is missing. So Terraform is not that old like .NET or Java or JavaScript. So sometimes Copilot doesn't have the full information, especially that Terraform is being updated from time to time. All right, let me maybe check the documentation to understand, but I think the caching here is missing as it says. I think Copilot can fix this too, but let me go and check this inside the Azure Terraform definition. So here, as you can see, the caching here is missing. I will add caching. It can be read write, none, or read only. All right. So here I will be adding that variable. Caching, I will keep it as read write. Or maybe read only, because I think I have said I will put it read only before. Yeah. Cool. All right. Let's clear this. And here I'll be selecting again. I don't need that. Let me fix this. I don't need this right now. I will be asking to clear this, and right now I will be asking Copilot. Let me go use this cost. Actually, cost, it will be another demo maybe with Azure Copilot extension for Azure. It will be another demo. So here I will be asking something else, how to deploy this code. So I want to deploy this code to Azure. So I need to apply this. So here we get the commands. So I need to do Terraform init, plan, and later I will need to apply that plan. So Copilot here helped me by providing the needed command in order to deploy this infra as code to Azure. So let me follow those commands. I will remove this. And here we can, before running that, I have an extension that is called tfsec. It will analyze my code. Let me analyze my Terraform code in order to see if there is any issue with my code. And I think tfsec have successfully updated the result, and I have a critical problem. And this problem is that I think my storage account is public. If I select that, oh, actually my storage account is not selecting or not using the latest TLS version, so I need to set up my account to use the, for example, latest version, I think 1.3, but I will ask Copilot to use the 1.2, I think. Yes, I think this is acceptable. Cool. And I think like that, let me just check the documentation again, the TLS version. All right, so we can use, I think 1.0 and 1.1 are deprecated, or not really deprecated, but are not secure. We can use 1.2 or 1.3. All right, so the TFSec now is not giving any other problems. All right, we can now run Terraform init, validate to validate the solution if we have any errors. Okay, now we can plan, we can create the TF plan and apply that plan. Or we can always run apply without the plan, but behind the scene, the apply will run the plan code. For better practice, we need to always to run the plan first in order to see if we have missed anything or there is misconfiguration, or maybe someone else have committed to the same files that we are working on, and some other changes will be done besides our changes. Okay, I think this is just maybe not an error, but the tfsec keep showing this me to red even after I have modified the minimum TLS version. I think I need to ignore that for now because I don't have any other error. All right, once I run, and there is no errors. I don't know why this always kept being selected in red. All right, so let's run Terraform plan and apply, or maybe apply directly, since I already have the TF plan. And right now, what I am doing is actually creating the solution. I will pause for seconds and I will run again until the creation finishes. So as you can see, now it's creating the virtual machine. Let me refresh. So here we have two hard drive because I have two virtual machines, and here we have the public IP address. All right, and here we have the network interface. Still creating. And as you can see, we have an error because here I forgot to add another public IP address and another network interface, because the code that I have created was based on creating one virtual machine and not two virtual machines. So like that, we need to upgrade the NIC interface configuration and also the public IP address right here. All right, we don't need to touch the subnet or the NSG, but only the NIC and the IP address. All right, let me upgrade this, ask Copilot to upgrade this to work with the configuration that exists for the virtual machines. So let me ask it to update this code to create NIC based on number of virtual machines. Like that, it will take on consideration the VM count. All right, the storage account, I can use the same and like that. All right, and here the public IP address too, I will ask the same question. For better practice, we don't have, and we must not expose IP addresses with public IP addresses, but just this is only for the demo purposes, as you can use application gateway. All right now let's run again our Terraform plan and apply and see what we will have. I think here duplicate. All right, let me run again Terraform validate. I think I have two resources with the same name. Let me go back to the public IP address. All right, let me to remove this window. All right, and PIP, yes. So as you can see here, I have created two public IP addresses. I didn't delete actually the old one. All right, Terraform validate, and here I have another error, which is has count. All right, let me just save this, and I can actually ask Copilot to fix this code for me. Let me run again Terraform init. And if I have an error also, I can ask Copilot by inserting that error into the chat window. So it will analyze the main.tf and give me a solution how to fix that error or particular error. So here, as you can see, update the public IP address ID with the network interface related to it. All right. Okay, here. All right. Let me see how to do this. So here we are selecting the public IP and it's based on the count index of the number of the public IPs. So I can ask it here, this code fix it please for me so it works based on or fix it based on the information that we have on the error. And as you can see here, it have fixed our code and we can accept that fix or deny it. And here we can run Terraform init again. We have 0 errors. Validate also Terraform plan. And here we will see what's not deployed yet because we already have a couple of resources that have been created. All right, it's refreshing the state to see what have been deployed and not been deployed. Cool. So we have 7 resources to be created and we have 2 resources to be destroyed. So let me apply that. All right. Now we are started applying, and as you can see in my wrong screen, all right, I need to delete one of the nick because I think I have attached to VM2. All right, now as you can see, I have run it again the apply command and the 4 resources have been created. As you can see here, we have the 2 drives, the 2 OS disk, the 2 network interface, 1 network security group, 1 VNet, 2 virtual machines, and the subnet dedicated to have the 2 virtual machines. And we have the hard drive attached to our virtual machine. This is pretty awesome. All right, this is good. And we can actually ask Copilot to create another type of resources, attach more resources, or create another virtual machines. And we can even ask it to do more stuff for us. So as you can see here, we have the completion panel. If there is anything we can change, we will have a couple of suggestions here. And here we can select the file that we want. And for example, here, we can ask for Copilot, can you propose better code for me? Can you maybe Copilot know how to do this better, Copilot will be thinking and here to fix the error, improve the code, need to ensure that the public IP address attribute is specific instance. So here we'll keep having suggestion to improve the code or fix if we have any bug in our application or code. So here, as you can see, it's selecting the old error. Let me remove this. All right. Let me get all this like that. Select this main.tf. All right, that's not an error, just like that. And let me close this. All right, so here we have our provider. And I can ask, for example, Copilot to explain to me what is this block doing, why I need this block. So this block, for example, it is saying to initialize the provider to use, for example, here for Azure. All right. And here we have the creation of our resource group. So I can ask Copilot, what will this block do for me? Let's say I don't know Terraform. So here, as you can see, it will tell me that it will be creating a new resource group that store its name by the prefix that exists in variables. So here, for example, I can ask for Copilot to create a second resource group. Once I hit enter and tab, I will have this suggestion and I can, once hitting the tab, I will accept that suggestion. As you can see here, the name is different from the first one. It's second resources. And I can hit again more and more in order to create more resources. All right. So here, as you can see, based on the variable count, I can ask n number of variable or resource groups to be created. So this was Copilot for the Terraform. It can be very helpful to deploy resources, to create and manage resources, to fix errors, to enhance the automation and the creation of many resources. And it can be really helpful. You can use the commands, you can use the chat window, and you can even use the prompts like that, and it will create the right configuration for your code as infra. I hope this was helpful. Let's keep seeing another demos about GitHub Copilot. Thank you. All right, so now I will show you how GitHub Copilot can simplify biceps development for Azure resources. Always smart about infra as code. So from writing model to validating syntax, we'll not maybe go through the models, but I will try to get this code to be deployed and we'll see how Copilot can make it easier for us, faster, to dive in and create resources. Also, we will see how we can use GitHub Action in order to create and manage workflows, and how GitHub Copilot can help us write YAML configuration and automate CI/CD pipeline seamlessly. So let's get started. Here, I am asking Copilot to explain to me what this biceps code will be doing for us. So here, I'm asking, give me the diagram flow of what will be created. So here, as you can see, I'm selecting the full workspace, sorry. And here you can see that an app service will be created with a web app and a source control. And here you can see the different resources that will be inside a resource group. So the web app, the app service plan, and the source control that I am using. All right. That's cool and clear. And like that, it's helping me understand these biceps. So let's say I have never used biceps before. This right screen, this chat panel will help me understand that configuration. Awesome. So right now, let me ask Copilot, can we have more web apps or more web apps on this plan? So here I have a suggestion how to modify the code to create and insert another app service plan. So here we can replace the code that we have on our main screen with the code suggested by GitHub Copilot. So let me copy this one, and here I will insert this, and you can see that we have the app service 1 and we have the app service 2. So let me copy the full page. Maybe let me remove this and copy the full page and insert it inside instead of the existing page. Awesome. So here we have our code, we have our app service 1, app service 2, the two source control, and the two services actually are sharing the same app service plan. Awesome. That's look pretty good. And right now I'm going to create and push this inside the repository. But before that, I will deploy this code in order to see the results inside my Azure portal. All right, so here, let me select this command. Is it deployment? I need to create the resource group and deploy inside a resource group those resources. So I need to select this template file, which is the deploy web app.biceps. All right. Cool. I can ask also Copilot what is the command to use to deploy this file. Let's say that I don't know the command, and here we can directly use the command. As you can see, we have the terminal icon. We can answer directly that command inside the terminal. So also we can ask about the location, because I need to deploy to a certain location, and here we can change the location inside the configuration. And I want to have all this configuration in the same location. As you can see here, we can use the location parameter that already defined it in our biceps file, and it is set to choose the same location as the resource group that I will be deploying. So when I deploy the resource group, I need also to set up a location for that resource group. As you can see here, this resource group 001 that does not exist yet. If I go to my portal Azure, I will not see that resource group 001. So let me go to my Explorer, and here we'll be creating a new resource group. Let me create RG biceps demo 001. I will save it inside France Central as location, and I will rerun my command again. We can do this also from biceps inside the code by just for now I would prefer doing it from the portal. All right, and let's hit enter. And as you can see here, the deployment have started. It's running and started deploying resources to my Azure portal. So let me just refresh the page on my right screen. And as you can see here, we have the app service plan that have been already created. It's the first resource that have been created because the two app services depends on this app service plan. So the app service plan must be created first, and the app services, as you can see, have been created. Awesome. Everything is created. And here we can ask Copilot something else. So let me reduce this and have this on the screen. Can you help me, for example, create a flow in order to make the deployment of this biceps file to Azure? So right now what we want to have is to set up GitHub action in order to automatically deploy this. Maybe I'm familiar with how to do that with Terraform, but I'm new to Biceps, so let me ask Copilot how to do that. So here we have the full pipeline already uh, defined here, so we will only just copy and paste that definition. So to do that, we need to create a .github folder. Not a file, actually I need, I think, a folder. Yes, let me remove this. I need to create a folder, and inside that folder I will define my workflows. All right, and I will insert that template to deploy the biceps file inside that folder. So new file, deploy.yaml, and I can copy this inside here. And as you can see, I am going to need secrets. So we need the service connection in order to access the Azure portal. So we need a credential. All right. So this have been done. And right now I need to create a repo and deploy or push this to my GitHub. So let me create a new repository right here. It's called, let's say, demo biceps with workflow with Copilot, or demo biceps with Copilot. And I will set it as private, and here I will push my existing code to this repository right here. All right, let me do my first commit, and let me push this to that repository. Let me refresh here. One more time and git push. We have added the origin, the branch, and now we have pushed it. Let me just refresh this page, and like that we will have our source code here. And as you can see, we have already a pipeline that started to run, which is called first deploy. As you can see here, I'm sure this will fail because I did not yet set up the credential for the service connection in order to deploy that to my Azure portal. So I need to create those secrets inside the security, the settings, sorry. So I need to go to actions, and here I will need to create a repository secret. Let me paste that, and oh, I think I forgot to give it a name. It must be Azure credential. So let me copy the name too. So repository secret, I need here to copy the right name. So it is Azure credentials. All right. And I will paste again the secrets. And like that right now, I can recreate I can rerun that pipeline, and it will be running successfully. All right, we are not done yet. Let me go to my actions, and let me try to rerun this job. So as I said, we are not finished yet because we are going to use this pipeline later to create more resources. So I want this to be deployed directly from this pipeline and not manually from my local computer. So let's check if this will be green and we will have a correct pipeline. All right, one more error here. So what is the error? I think I have policy started. Oh, I think the template, I need to upgrade the resource group because it's trying to create a new resource group while I already have the resource group deployed. So let me just fix this, And here the resource group already I have created. Let me upgrade this pipeline and now it must work. I need to push this. So let me copy the name of the already existing resource group, and like that I think it seems correct. So let me add this, let me commit and push. All right, I will keep fix the resource group name, and I will, as you can see here, I fixed only this line here in order to use the existing resource group. And right now, if I go to here, I will see that the pipeline have already started to run again. Let me click on repository and let me go back to my my actions. And as you can see here, we have already running actions. Let me click on it and the deployment have started. Usually here, we must not see any changes because this code already have been deployed and we are not going to deploy anything else. I may stop recording and back to this because it may take a couple of seconds because I'm using free runners, what we use it to call self-hosted agent on Azure DevOps. So it may take a couple of minutes to finish. All right, it's still running. All right, the next step have been launched, and as you can see, when we see green, it's not always to start the car, but to say that we have successfully deployed our solution. Right now, we are going to do some modification inside our biceps file. We are going to add one more resource, and we will push this to GitHub, and we will see how our pipeline will automatically create another resource. So I will keep things simple, and I will create, I think I will be just adding another app service plan, or let me say I need to create another web app. Let me keep it simple. I think I don't need to create a virtual machine or something else because it will take more time for the pipeline to show results. Let me create another app to the same app service plan. All right. As you can see here, I will hit enter and I will wait for the Copilot. I will hit tab. I don't have yet a suggestion right now. As I said, sometimes it takes a couple of seconds. And here I will launch this panel and this prompt, sorry. And as you can see here, it created the third app service. All right, I'm pushing to the main branch. This is not best practice. You should always create a future branch, but this is always for the demo. All right, so we are creating here another app service plan, and we will push this to our repo and we will see what our pipeline will be doing and if this resource also will be deployed to our Azure portal. So adding third web app, git push, and let's go right now to GitHub to see the pipeline and the job. All right, so here we have the third workflow and here the deployment. And as you can see, the pre-setup Azure CLI. So here it's logging to our service principal in order to identify itself to the enter ID. So here GitHub is saying, hi, welcome, I am identified, authorized, I have the authentication and authorization to deploy. And here it is deploying our biceps file. And in a few seconds, we'll need to see another app service deployed right here. All right, let's refresh. As you can see here in the deployments, we can see a deployment is running when another web app is being deployed. All right, it's still deploying. Still deploying. Still deploying. And right now, in a few seconds, maybe you will see this. I'll maybe pause recording while this being deployed. So like that, we can see that Copilot didn't only help us enhance our code and did understand biceps, but also created the pipeline for us. And as you can see here, we have the third app service created and deployed inside our resource group. So the pipeline must show done in a few seconds. So post checkout, last step, and as you can see, we have the green button, and these have been finished deploying our app service to our Azure portal, thanks to GitHub Copilot and its help. So thank you for watching, and let's go to see how GitHub Copilot can help us deploy other resources. All right, so after all of these demos, we will finish with the GitHub Copilot for Azure. So we have a different commands that we can use. So for example, as I said and as explained, explain, which will get code explanation, test to generate unit test for selected code, fix to receive a proposed fix for the problem in the selected code or file, and help, which get us help on using GitHub Copilot for chat. Okay, so the GitHub Copilot command as here today can help us. For example, if we can ask it, it can help us assist us creating deployments and generating, for example, costs for our resources, and can help us choose the right service that we are going to use. For example, here we are getting general information: do static web apps need private or public IP? It can help us, for example, let's ask for one resource group or a subscription to summarize the most recent logs on this app, if there is an opportunity to make improvements to our apps, and like that, this extension will help us have a better resource deployed with better implementation. So, for example, here, what were the total cost last month for my subscription? And like that, we will get charges by service and the total of charges. All right. So the GitHub Copilot commands are explained, and we are going to get started right now with but we need active GitHub Copilot licenses. We need the chat extension. We need a Microsoft account. You can today have a free Azure account, and you will get like $200 for 1 year that you can use with the 12 free Azure services. So you can start chatting with Azure by initiating a conversation using @Azure, and there are a lot of example of prompts. We will see later how to do it, and you can continue learning about Azure and resource management and diagnostic, cost management, and the Azure CLI. So you can ask the Azure extension here inside GitHub Copilot, or you can visit the Microsoft Azure Learn to know more about that. So let's get started with GitHub Copilot for Azure. All right. So last, I want to talk about the Azure GitHub Copilot extension, which is still in preview, which is a tool that bridge the power of AI coding assistance with the capability of Azure. So it's designed to boost productivity, reduce errors, and streamline workflow for developers working directly in Azure services. As I said, it's still in preview. What can we do with this extension? So the Azure GitHub Copilot extension is an integration of GitHub Copilot, a revolutionary AI coding assistant into Azure development environment, whether you are writing ARM templates by zip file or managing YAML for Azure DevOps. This extension offers an intelligent suggestion, auto-completion, and even entire function implementation. So once we hit and use this Azure, it will ask us to log into our Azure account, and it will help you, for example, if you are going to configure Azure Kubernetes Service, AKS cluster, or creating a logical app workflow. Instead of manually looking up every command or parameters, this extension can help you and provide for you the context and the recommendation directly inside the editor. And this is not only save time, but also minimize the risk of syntax error and misconfiguration. So the key feature or benefits are context-aware suggestions. So this extension can help us and offer us relevant completion tailored to Azure resources. Code optimization. So we have suggestions for the best practice for Azure configurations as securing your infra with proper role assignment or optimizing storage performance. As you can see here, I have a suggestion about which static website service that I can use. So we have three suggestions such as Azure Storage Account, Azure Static Web App, or Azure App Service. And it can help us also to do the documentation. So to sum up, the Azure GitHub Copilot extension is a game changer today for Azure developers. It's more than just an AI-powered autocomplete. It's a coding assistant that makes Azure development more efficient, secure, and accessible. If you haven't tried it yet, you can install it. It's still in preview, and there is more functionality that are going to be added to this extension, such as calculating costs, giving the number of subscriptions that exist, the number of virtual networks that exist, and more of capabilities that will be added in the future. And the general version will be available as soon as possible. So this is still in preview. As I said, you can download this extension. You just need to type GitHub Copilot for Azure. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have liked this video about GitHub Copilot.